me in line. Read me to a submiss inside a crack of her whip is fine. Latex rubber and light eyes, cat o' nine tails that breaks me down. Her discipline is so profound, got the cuts keep me around. Tied up or tied down as long as I am bound. Just as long as I am bound. Place me in your sense of care. I do all for you anywhere. You are the master, I'm the slave. Willing to be your depraved, servant to your every whim. Let this fetish love begin. Take control of this beat on you. Rule this moment, what may come. I like this thing I am whenever you are near. There is no resistance here. She dominates. I need some pleasure with my pain. She dominates. Abuse me with leather whips and chains. She dominates. Witness me to a pleading cry. Break the skin and tantalize. I need some pleasure with my pain. She dominates. You are near. There is no resistance here. She dominates. I need some pleasure with my pain. She dominates. Abuse me with leather whips and chains. She dominates. Witness me to a pleading cry. Break the skin and tantalize. I need some pleasure with my pain. She dominates.
You're listening to the Whip Appeal Show, hosted by MistressCandy69 from the BDSM Alive Radio Network. Hello in Radio Land. Hello and welcome to the BDSM Alive Radio Show, hosted by MistressCandy69 from the BDSM Alive Radio Network. Today is Friday, July 29th, 2022. Hello and welcome, everybody. Phone lines are open. The phone number for tonight's show is 516-406-3512, and Mistress is taking calls live on the air this evening. So I didn't do a show last week because Mistress had a birthday. Mistress turned 47 years old last Sunday, and I decided that I was had heat exhaustion from the prior week, and Mistress had decided that she was not doing a show last week and didn't announce that I wasn't doing a show either. I just didn't do one. Why? Because I'm Mistress Candy and I can do whatever the hell I want to do. Actually, the next couple of months, the BDSM Alive Radio Network will be, in fact, at Exotica this year in Edison, New Jersey, which the dates for the show is, I believe, October 21st to the 23rd, I believe. So if you go to EXXXOTICAEXPO.com, ExoticaExpo.com, you can get your tickets for Edison, New Jersey, which is the one show that Mistress and Mistress Black Velvet will be attending, because we are all affiliated with the network, which is BDSM Alive Radio Network. And we will be at the convention center, walking around the convention center, interviewing a whole bunch of kinky folk that will most likely be at the show, like porn stars and upcoming actresses. And of course, some of Mistress's really close friends will be there, like Rita Daniels and Seika Black and Kimmy Kaboom, and a whole bunch of other wonderfully famous porn actors and actresses that you guys and gals have been watching on the big screen for years. So of course, Mistress will be there this year. Myself and a bunch of my friends will be going. Like I said, myself and Mistress Black Velvet and a whole bunch of other people, like some of our regular friends. I think she's bringing some of her friends and some dames, and I'm hoping to see a whole bunch of friends that I hadn't seen in about a year or so at this upcoming show. So if you do see Mistress Candy, myself, and my crew walking around the convention center, please feel free to stop us and get an interview and be on our show, as I will be doing the Whip Appeal show from Exotica the entire weekend. So normally I do my shows on Fridays, so I'll be definitely doing a show on Friday. I'll be definitely doing a show on Saturday, and I believe Mistress Black Velvet is going to be doing her show, I think, all 3 days as well. So walking around the convention center, I get to interview a whole bunch of kinky people. I get to interview people in the porn industry. I get to interview people who are in kink and regular vanilla people who are kind of walking around the convention center and not really sure what they're going to be doing. So there's a good chance that I would be bumping into you and having you give me an interview on the show, on the airwaves. So everybody in my lifestyle as well as kinky worlds can listen to you be interviewed on my show. So how does it feel to be 47 years old? Well, Mistress has decided that I love to, I think I look pretty damn fucking good for somebody who's 47 years old, I might say. Trying to stay in shape and of course, trying to heal from my spinal fusion that I had done 3 months ago. And actually, yesterday, I went to the doctor and I was complaining to the doctor that my old shoulder injury has kind of awoken since I had the neck surgery done. And he was like, well, let me look at your, MRI. So he looks at the records and he's like, well, you did have like an infraspinatus tear, a supraspinatus tear, a rotator cuff tear. He's like, you did have bursitis in the AC joint. So he said where I was pointing to, he did like an ultrasound in the office and he could see that I had like calcification in the AC joint. So he gave me a cortisone shot yesterday in my shoulder. And honestly, my shoulder feels great. But today, I was extremely sleepy. I slept all day long, like all day and all night, because I was pretty exhausted, and whatnot. So, and, I guess to some degree, I did have a good birthday. I got a lot of family and friends calling, texting me, sending me messages on Facebook and Twitter, and a whole bunch of other places. Then I had Mistress Black Velvet had called me personally, and a couple of my other friends had called me personally as well. And then actually the person who I live with actually surprised me and got me a birthday cake and a card for my birthday, which is pretty awesome considering this person doesn't normally do stuff like this for Mistress. So it was very nice. So thank you very much. And what else did I do? I don't know. Just did some other basic stuff. Nothing too exciting. I drank on my birthday. I didn't get drunk, but I did drink. And I did also... What else did I do? Sorry. I'm actually bringing something downstairs. And, of course, the wire just falls down and bangs down the whole stairwell here. So, but yeah, so... I don't know. So if you're going to if you get thinking of going to Exotica in Edison, New Jersey, you haven't gone before, it's something you definitely don't want to miss. It's a very big event dedicated to love and sex, and it's probably one of the bigger conventions out there that shows an array of BDSM and kink stuff. So you definitely don't want to miss Exotica if you've never gone before. They have, ladies are always free on Fridays, and, that's really about it, if you ask me. So, but yeah, it's exoticaexpo.com, and definitely want to be going to that if you've never gone to one before. So, interesting topic. Tonight's show, I had, wanted to discuss age playing, okay? Age play is a form of role play in which an individual acts or treats another as if they were a different age, okay? Age play is role playing between adults, and it involves consent from all parties. And age play, despite of what people think, it's not sexual, okay? It's kind of interesting. Most aspects of BDSM, a lot of these newbie subs that come to Mistress for whatever, they're like, oh, I want this and this and this and this. And, there's sex involved. And I'm like, no, there's no sex in any of that stuff. Think about it. So a lot of people say, the age play, right, in the Wiktionary here, in Wikipedia. From what I've known, I've done a lot of age play in my 33 years of being a dominatrix. I had a couple of submissives years ago and it's kind of funny, most of the subs who came to see me for age play, they are all these adult males that are mostly over the age of like 50-something, and they all want to dress up and be little girls, which I find to be kind of interesting about it. There's one thing of being a cross-dresser, but then there's another aspect of having someone dress in the opposite sex or dressing in the opposite sex as a younger child, like wanting to be younger. Like this fella, I think at the time was like 65, and he told me he wanted me to treat him as a little girl and go out to eat in public. And he would be doing a series of like, annoying things a child would do. Now, mind you, this fella paid for this session, and it was a weekend-long session. It was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And when I was married and living in upstate New York, I took it upon myself to see this submissive for a weekend-long play session. And it involved, I won't say his name, but he likes to be called Amy. And Amy had come to Mistress's house and stripped off all of his man clothes and dressed up as a little. Now, he was dressing up as a little girl. Now, mind you, a 65-year-old man who wants to become a 4 or 5-year-old little girl. So Mistress then gets stuck with a toddler for the weekend, and not just any old toddler. It was an adult baby. This fellow was into ABDL, which is adult baby diaper loving type stuff. And at the time, Mistress really didn't care for this too much, but I had agreed to it because, of course, there was no involvement of sexual activity whatsoever. So I had explained to the individual that I would dress him up as a little girl. We would go to like Denny's or one of these places where there was like a buffet, and him and I would go out and have, lunch or dinner in a public setting. And I had a diaper bag packed with 2 or 3 baby bottles of milk, and one had juice in it. I also had juice boxes, fruit snacks, like a whole diaper bag basically for this adult guy that wanted to act like a fucking little kid. So we go out to the place, he eats dinner. He starts, throwing food on the floor in the restaurant, like having a temper tantrum, basically. And I had said, Amy, Mommy is quite upset that you're having like a tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. So I asked her to get up, and I had her come over to me, and she was kind of being very bad, like, bratty little bitch, like a little kid would be. So I made her stand in the corner of the restaurant, and she kind of just, stood there for a brief minute or two, and then Mistress had her turn around, and I went into the diaper bag, and I took out a very moist bar of ivory soap that was sitting in a bag of water with a washcloth around it. I think I might have talked about this on prior shows. And this individual was cursing at Mistress, so basically, Mistress decided to, decided to have, soap in this individual's mouth. And it was quite comical, if you ask me. So basically, what the hell's going on here with my screen? So basically a bunch of stuff went on, and this, that, and everything else. And I just kind of left it alone. And then with that being said, we then went about the weekend where he was dressing in women or children